What up, is Dane. In this video I'm going to be telling you the best workout routine for men at the gym, so let's get straight into it. So first of all, as you can see probably in the title there's the biggest myth that's going on in the fitness industry, and that is the myth of bro splits. So you probably start doing the bro split, and when I talk about the bro split, it's like doing chest day. I think it's Tuesday or Monday or whatever, and that's when you know not to get a bench press, by the way. But anyway, it's like doing some chest, biceps or some shit like that. And the reason you probably started that is because you looked at the biggest guy in the world, Mr. Olympia, and you said, okay, I'm doing Kai Green's arm attack, Phil Heath's back attack, or some shit like that, right? Now there's a few things that you need to consider. The biggest one is that you're not taking the same amount of steroids as they're taking. Well, probably not. The second biggest thing is their muscles are probably 5 times the size of yours, and they can tolerate a lot more volume and load. So now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you exactly, using science once again, why the bro split is a myth. Okay, so to put it in simple terms, take this example. So you're copying a professional bodybuilder, right? You're doing the same routine, it's all good. However, there's a caveat to this. Number one is that you're doing the exact same chest routine as they're doing. You're doing like, I don't know what it is, like 20 plus sets per session for your chest, right? Like an insane amount of session volume. Whereas your chest is very, very small, and you're working with very, very light weights, whereas they're working with heavy ass weights with a shit ton of volume. Their big chest, their much larger muscle group, is going to take much longer to recover than your small chest. So that's the question, why you're only hitting your chest once a week. I mean, if you bench pressing once a week, first of all, you're not even going to learn the technique right. The skill is going to take you a very long time for that motor learning to occur. And second of all, benching once a week, how are you going to increase that shit? So using science now, it clearly shows that muscle growth takes place like 2 to 3 days after training. So you're basically telling me, okay, I've just hit shoulders, man. I've just done 4 exercises for shoulders, and now I have to wait another whole week in order to hit my shoulders again because they're sore from all the muscle damage. This is just completely bullshit, because number one, a small muscle group like probably your lateral deltoid or something like that can tolerate a lot more volume and frequency. So another important thing to consider is that your nervous system, basically your body, your brain, all this kind of stuff, this may take like a week to recover. However, we don't always train 100% balls to the wall all the time, or at least you shouldn't. You should be training at least near failure, not always to failure, like struggling to get a way up and shit like that all the time. So here's a solution for this. You must vary your intensity. When I talk about intensity, this is the load on the bar or the weight on the bar. Now the reason you want to do this is because let's say you bench pressing 140 kg Monday, and you got to do it again Thursday or Wednesday. It's very unlikely that you're going to train 100% balls to the wall once again. Therefore, maybe reduce the amount of weight on the bar and just maybe try and get a few more reps. And another solution is volume variation, right? So what's this? Basically, if you've been watching a lot of my other videos, I talk about volume landmarks. Basically, you work from, like, let's say your MEV, which is minimum effective volume. So the amount of sets you have to do per muscle group per week in order to get some muscle growth. Then you work to your maximum adaptive volume, then all the way to your maximal recoverable volume, where you really start to struggle and fatigue. Okay, so let's just get to the point. If you're an intermediate lifter and you've been training, let's say about 2 to 4 years, you should at least be hitting each muscle group about 2 to 4 times a week. Okay, so by this point, if you're really convinced, and just before I get into the science, I need to mention one really important thing. So if you want to put the bro split in the bin and start a new split, maybe like an upper, lower, or whatever kind of split that's just training each muscle group at least 2 to 4 times per week, then keep this in mind. And this is a massive mistake most people make. So they just increase the volume straight away. And when I talk about volume, I'm talking sets times reps. And if you want to talk about volume load, it'll be sets times reps times load. So let's say you do the good old bro international chest day, right? So on Monday you do that, and Thursday you do that, and maybe Saturday you do that again. Now you don't want to go 100% all out, because here's the thing, you're already like tripling the volume. You don't want to do that. If you do want to add more session in, take the volume to account. So work it out, the sets times your reps times your load. Okay, so that's all good me telling you all that, but let's back this up by science. So let's start off with the first meta-analysis by Brad Schoenfeld, James Ogborn, and James Krieger on training frequency. So just to clarify, a meta-analysis is probably the strongest point of evidence when it comes to science-based evidence. For example, you might get a few people that say, oh look at this one study. Congratulations, dickhead, it's one study. This meta-analysis included 10 studies, I think it was, and it basically just investigated training muscle groups about 1 to 3 times per week on a, keep this in mind, volume equated basis. Now this meta-analysis found out that training each muscle group twice per week was superior than training each muscle group once per week, aka burst split. And when I say superior, I mean in muscular hypertrophy gain. Unfortunately, this meta-analysis couldn't actually tell us that training each muscle group more than twice a week was superior for muscular hypertrophy gains. Unfortunately, otherwise that would be the shit. In my opinion, it's probably a dose relationship response, meaning that increasing the volume over time will lead to greater muscular gains up to a point, then it'll probably start hindering you and all that fatigue, and you won't be able to lift the same amount of weight and do the same amount of volume. Hence why I tell you, start off with maybe 12 to 14 sets per muscle group per week, then work to maybe about in a 4th week of a mesocycle to about 20 sets per muscle group per week. And that way you're having some volume variation, you're increasing it slowly, however you're not burning yourself out in simple terms. Okay, so this meta-analysis basically wanted to investigate the effects of training, or should I say total weekly training volume on muscular gain. And you probably would have guessed that increasing total training weekly volume actually led to greater muscular hypertrophy. However, this was probably a dose relationship response, as I said in the meta-analysis. Again, if you do, let's say, 50 sets per muscle group per week, you're probably going to burn out of fatigue and it's not even going to be possible. So maybe stick around about maybe 20 sets per muscle group per week, and then hit a deload and then start that MEV to MRV stuff again. Okay, so moving on to the third meta-analysis, and this one wanted to investigate how many sets you should be doing. So it was single sets versus multiple sets per exercise for obviously muscular gains, getting buff. Now what they actually found out is that doing multiple sets, so 2 to 3 sets and 4 to 6 sets, was superior than training 1 set per exercise. Now I'm not sure many people just do 1 set per exercise, so this might be like, oh, obviously, but they didn't find a significant difference of training 2 to 3 sets per exercise compared to 4 to 6 sets per exercise. In my opinion and in my hypothesis, it comes down to the training volume at that point, but that's just my hypothesis. It might be correct or incorrect. So multiple sets actually led to 40% greater increase in muscle size compared to 1 set per exercise. And very, very important to know, it was on trained and untrained subjects, which a lot of studies are mostly on untrained subjects. Or when they say trained, like maybe like six months or some shit. Okay, so coming towards the end of the video now. Firstly, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's the main thing, right? And one thing I ask from you, it's a real big favor, right? Just share this with your friends or anyone that's doing a bro split, because my complete goal is almost to abolish this myth of the bro split in natural individuals. Okay, so summarize up, the best workout routine will include these 3 things. Each exercise will probably have about 2 to 3 sets plus, obviously up to a point, probably no more than, let's say, 6 to 7 sets. And second, the training volume, and again, this is a dose response relationship, so the best workout routine will probably start off with a lower training volume, maybe about 12 to 14 sets per muscle group, working up to the last week of training. If you do, let's say, a 1 to 4 week mesocycle, so training block for those of you who don't understand it. So on the 4th week, you work to your maximal recoverable volume, where you really start to push yourself, probably going to failure on most exercises. That's what the best workout routine would include when it probably comes to training volume. Now this is not set in stone at all. Genetics play a part, a massive part on how fast you can recover and how much volume you can tolerate, and so does your training experience. For example, if you're someone watching this and you've been training, let's say 6 months, you're gonna maybe start off with maybe 10 sets per muscle group per week, or maybe 12, let's say that. And if you're intermediate, maybe 14 to 16 sets per muscle group, all the way working up to the 4th week, the last week of your mesocycle, if you're doing a 1 to 4 week training block. For those of you who don't understand what I mean by that stupid terminology. So once you get to the last week of your training block, that's where you reach maybe 20 sets per muscle group for intermediate lifters, and if you're just starting out, maybe that could be 16 to 18 sets per muscle group. And lastly, the training frequency. The best workout routine will include training each muscle group at least 2 to 4 times per week. Now another important thing to note is that training a large muscle group maybe 2 times per week, and the smaller muscle groups like your calves, your shoulders, your biceps, maybe even your triceps, you can train them about, let's say, 4 to 5 times per week. and even abs you can train like 6 times per week, right? Because these all recover really fast. Okay, so almost about to finish the video now. One thing I have to say here is that the myth of bro splits, it is kind of a myth, right? Because so many people are doing it when they have like no experience in the gym and they have very small muscle groups, which is completely fine. This is why I'm making the video. However, most of the people that I see do the bro splits are on steroids, and probably definitely are on steroids. However, there are a very small percentage of people that I've seen do the bro splits, and number one, they've been training for years and years, like they're very advanced, so that's probably why they can do the bro split as well. And number two, they have very good genetics. They are jacked as hell due to their genetics as well. So genetics and training experience, those are one of the main factors why those people can get away with bro splits as well. The main reason for this is because their chest can tolerate a lot more volume. They're lifting a lot more weight on their chest, and their chest needs to take a lot longer to recover than your 20-inch chest, right? Now, this is by no means shitting on you. Like, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to help you. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to illustrate the point. And I'm not even sure if 20 inches for your chest is big or not. I don't know. Okay, so again, just before I end with my good old stay positive, stay smiling, if you could just share this with your friends, and probably the most important thing that I probably would like you to do is leave a comment down below if you've been doing the bro split, or at least you start off with the bro split. You walk past a magazine or some big jack bodybuilder and you ask him, hey man, what's your routine, man? And then he just goes like, oh, I just do chest Monday, triceps another day, or some shit like that. If you start out with a bro split, let me know down below, because I'm sure a lot of people have made this mistake, for most people, like I said. So anyway, please do that, or it'll be so entertaining to you, man. Here's the conclusion, or here's the outro, man. Stay positive, stay smiling, get jacked naturally, and I'll see you in the next one.
I see the stars shooting from the sky as if from